Cindy, I remember vividly the day you were approved for ordination. It was a day that many of us had worked for and longed for and prayed for.
She went to seminary at Candler, and then she decided that she was ready to be ordained, and she wanted to be ordained in Western North Carolina. But our Western North Carolina Association would not allow anybody who was an out lesbian or gay person. And so there was a resolution that had been presented and passed in 1984, and that was blocking our way. So Cindy and I talked about that, and she decided that she wanted to go through it anyway. And we ended up having to go to a meeting in which this resolution was going to be voted on. There were probably about 400 people in the meeting, and the media was all around the edge of the room. So people stood up and they argued a point this way or that way, and then it came time for a vote. And when they came back, we had won that issue by about 5 or 6 votes out of about 400.
The Southern Conference approved you, and that night on the news, a reporter stood in front of a giant rainbow flag emblazoned with the crest of the United Church of Christ, and she said, "Local lesbian, approved by mainline denomination." It was a victorious day.
We went back to Asheville as quick as we could, and 2 or 3 weeks later, we ordained her on December the 10th.
But that wasn't the whole story. It wasn't the real story. The real story is the story of your gifts in ministry and the way those gifts have changed lives over the years. The real story is your gift of preaching and teaching and social justice and writing and all the gifts that your presence brings to the world. You have changed lives. Many, many people have been brought back to a spiritual life because of your ministry.
When I think of Cindy's ministry at King Street Church, 2 words come to mind: welcome and challenge. The welcome was the reason I came to church in the first place after a long time away.
I lived in the neighborhood and had been struggling with my own faith a little bit and things going on in my life. And I sat in the pew and really listened to her message. And wow, was I just amazed at how she spoke to me and really started my love of faith again.
I myself was going through some periods of personal change, and having Cindy as my pastor as well as my friend really helped me through some of those times. And looking back, just being able to, talk about things with her and laugh with her and watch her go through some of the same struggles that I was experiencing at the same time was valuable to me, and it's times that I will always remember.
Cindy's sermons were so poignant, and I really felt that every Sunday it was like she was speaking to me. All of the messages were incredible, and I really appreciated how candid she was in her delivery.
When you were with us most Sundays, I felt like you knew what was in my heart and in my mind. You have a soft-spoken, quiet kindness about you, and you speak to everybody, and everyone is lucky to have met you.
Pastor Cindy's sermons made me feel like she was talking to me.
The challenge is what came after. Cindy's not loud or pushy, but she consistently challenged me to be a better version of myself, to try new things, to push my personal envelope, and she consistently challenged the congregation in the same way.
Your time here at King Street was transformative, as you helped this church envision what it meant to be truly open and affirming. I walked in and I found a church that was not only open and affirming on paper, but that really embodied Christian love. I found that those wounds that I had taken from churches in the past began to heal.
Cindy, I just wanted to say that one of our first conversations was you talking to me about your gift of languages. and your languages and your sermons were amazing. They either stirred me to think, they stirred me to think, no, I don't agree. Oh, well, wait a minute, maybe. So you caused me to think, and that's a blessing that you shared with all of us and continue to share with everyone. Congratulations, Cindy.
Thank you for all the really fun Christmas pageants. They're really creative and exciting.
Cindy, congratulations. It's nice for me to be out and about, and I want to reach out to you and say the ways that you motivated all of us here at First Congregational will never be forgotten. Thank you.
And also, thank you for making the church such a warm and welcoming place for both of us. When I was a child, my mom would always go to church in times of stress or trouble, and also in times of joy. And I never really understood it until the past few years that you were at FCC. It was a really hard couple of years, and I don't think we would have made it without you. So thank you.
We were church shopping when we first came to FCC UCC in South Portland, and we decided to try out Amelia's mom's church.
Earlier that week, we had watched the Mr. Rogers documentary, and you gave a sermon about God's acceptance of each person exactly as they are, and the church's welcoming of all of God's people.
And we left that service saying, wow, Amelia's mom is like Mr. Rogers, and so is God.
Cindy, your caring was something that most of us were privy to and will never forget. And just a reminder of that caring is our very favorite friend, the koala. Koala to you, Cindy.
We felt so welcome in your congregation and in the church community.
And singing with you was always a pleasure.
Thank you for being such a huge contribution to our lives and for officiating our wedding. Congratulations on 20 years.
Congratulations, Cindy.
Congratulations.
Among many qualities that we sought in a senior pastor, I would highlight two. First, and in my mind, the most important thing, is the capacity to lead inspiring worship, especially to preach, week after week, in hard times and on days of celebration. Cindy's sermons are biblically based, theologically wise, deeply personal and grounded in experience, and pointedly addressed to the needs of the moment. She knows how to comfort the afflicted and to afflict those of us who may be too comfortable. I've been consistently challenged and led to a deeper understanding of and relationship with God, encompassing heart, mind, and spirit. The second quality that this congregation called for and that Cindy's demonstrated throughout her ministry is a strong commitment to social justice. This church feels called to live out its faith by caring for those in need and seeking a more just social order. In many ways, Cindy supports and leads our commitments to social justice.
In her first interview with the search team, she shared that, quote, "Stories have the power to form us, reform us, and transform us." Cindy is a gifted storyteller, as we have all seen in her sermons and worship leadership. But Cindy is not only an excellent storyteller, she is a tremendous listener. She has invited all of us to share our stories, and when we called her, we were a congregation in need of a new story. Following the departure of two beloved pastors and the global pandemic, we all needed the transforming power of story. And Cindy has done just that. She is warm and wise and steady. She has worked with Pastor Lauren to weave a new story for our congregation and our time. She has told us the sacred stories in new ways, told many of her own stories, and asked how we might want to live out new stories in our lives.
What I would say her legacy here at King Street was to bring us into the understanding of what true acceptance is. And truly accepting all people, no matter who they are, what they want to be, what their dreams are, what they decide is perfect for their life. So
Cindy did a lot for King Street Church, initiated different projects, and tried to engage the congregation in working together.
She was one of the best experiences I think our little church has ever had. And you really left a meaningful place in everyone's hearts here at King Street United Church of Christ.
Cindy brought about change and the openness to change and the ability for us to think outside the box. And I really appreciated that. I appreciated having a woman, having someone who is not traditional in her practices. And it was really refreshing to be a part of something that really started the open and affirming legacy here.
And it's as a result of her efforts to consistently challenge us that we became an open and affirming congregation. And the extravagant welcome that people experience when they come through our doors now has meant that some of our most beloved members have come and have found a home with us when they wouldn't have found one in other churches. And I feel like that's her biggest legacy, and we were so blessed to have had her among us for the time that we did.
So I want to thank you for your life of ministry, for your love, for your heart that was so infectious here at King Street, that helped people see new ways to love, new ways to be inclusive, new ways to do God's work.
So today is a special day. It opened the door for a lot of other people in the LGBTQ community to also pursue ordination without hiding their identity. Cindy, you did a great job making that happen. I was proud to work with you. Thank you.
20 years is a remarkable accomplishment. Congratulations. There are many more to come.